everybody knows that when you take the responsibility to take care of animals under your supervision, it takes a lot of work. You need to make sure that you give them feed and water every single day. You take good care of them, find good land for them to be on if they live outside. And also, shelter is something that every animal needs. It needs protection from the weather, rain, snow, sunshine, you name it. They need a house to sleep in at night, and they need to be able to protect themselves. Right now, I'm gonna show you guys something that we're not that proud of that just happened this past week, which is affecting both of our pigs, because of course it can't be as easy as just affecting one of them. So both of their pig shelters, this one, hi buddy, I know, hi. Both of their pig shelters have completely started getting destroyed. So this one right here had a tarp over the top of it. And I think the tarp just over time, the sun beating down on it, rain, snow, you name it, has started just breaking apart. So now you can see that there is nothing covering the top of it. It's not a shelter anymore, it's just a frame of a shelter. So what they've been doing this past week, since this has slowly started breaking apart and coming off, is they go under the tree right here for some shelter. But obviously that's not the best for them, so they need a brand new shelter. And now let me show you what's going on with our big guys over here. So our two bigger male pigs here, I had an A-frame kind of structure. This is something I actually built for our very first pigs that we ever had. And at first, when we first had it, it was a little bit more put together. I had metal sidings along the whole side of it. It was just a little small for pigs, so it wasn't something that was supposed to be a long-term thing. We took the metal sidings off it for other projects, so we ended up just putting this blue tarp over the top of it, and as you can see now, it is just completely destroyed. The pigs, they're too big. They were laying on the tarp, putting weight on. This structure really wasn't built the best. So there's gonna be two pig shelters that are in kind of emergent needs so that they have somewhere to sleep under. So we have an idea of pig shelters that we wanna make today. Two pig huts we're gonna use. What we wanna do is actually use the frame of this one right here. This one is slightly bigger, I believe, so we wanna get it into with the big guys here. The other structure, which should be about the same exact size, it just looks a little smaller by the eyeball test here, is this makeshift one that we built a while back. And now it's kind of just been made for whenever we need to house some kind of animal really quick, is that's kind of like our backup. But I think this is what we want to do now. So this will be the other one. It's a little bit smaller, I believe. And this one will go into for the smaller female pigs. So a little bit of moving around. And then as soon as we get both those into those areas, then we can start putting everything together, and hopefully, at least they'll have something to go under tonight. I cut a lot of the inside here too. No more tarps. Tarps are something that are convenient, easy to use. They're minimally expensive. Sometimes they can be, depending on what kind of tarp you're buying. Now we're going straight to the metal. We want to make sure that it's not going to break down, it's not going to wear down, and it's something that will make sure that no water passes, they can get complete shelter for. I'm going to hope to drill through all of them and see if this works. We're drilling, and I'll explain why in a little bit, but instead of putting screws through these, we're going to zip tie them around the cattle panels. But let's just see if this is actually going to go through all three. It works. Let's try to put on at least the cover of these shelters. Well, my camera shut off, of course, in the middle of making it. But as you can see, this is a lot sturdier than tarp was. I'm very much pleased with how this looks so far. We have a few things that we want to do to the front and back of this. But if this is all we got done tonight, this is a win, because this is something that the pigs can actually go under, sleep under, and they have shelter. They don't have to use trees anymore for their shelter. And I imagine that's where they'll go. But Also, animals sometimes, they don't appreciate the things you do for them, and they might not go to sleep in this tonight. We gotta work on the other pig hut now. When we started carrying over, you can see started splitting right here. So I'm gonna have to go get a screwdriver and some screws, and we're gonna have to try to fix this up, take some of this old tarping off, get some other wood off, put some new wood on. Then hopefully we can go around and put the shelter on top for them as well. But first, we got a little work to do with this one.
Try to wake up from a dream. It's harder than it seems. Birds are flying all around. Some fall and hit the ground. This is where I should belong.
It's the next day. It got a little late, so we weren't able to finish them exactly everything that we want to do for them. But you can see now we got the metal all the way around each side of it. And this will be a lot more stable for them for shelter. It will protect them from all the weather elements, which is going to be exactly why we want it. So now what we got to do is we're going to work on the backings of these. And then we might do a little bit to the front, but we at least want to make sure the back gets covered here. And we got to add some straw into each one. This was not the same exact size as that one. I thought they were both 8 foot long exactly, which is the length of these boards here. But as you can see, there is a small gap here that is not covered. So I'm gonna have to get some big clippers, clip these cattle panels to where it ends right here, and then we'll be able to make a back. So it's gonna just take a little extra work. Since it's gonna be a little extra work, we're gonna start with the one that doesn't have that problem, so we can at least keep moving forward. And then we'll work on the one that needs a little bit of extra work. They're looking good and they have been being used, which is good. Hey. All right, the back of the pig hut is now officially done. This is just fence boards, just to kind of hold in all the straw that we are going to get in here, which we'll have to do tomorrow because we're not going to leave probably the house today. Now, the only thing I want to do for the front is basically the same exact thing, but only cover about half of it so they can come in and out. We're just going to do about halfway here in the middle, and then it should be really well for them, ready to go for the winter time, where fill it up with straw and they'll have a nice spot just to kind of stay a little bit cozier. But pigs, they're pretty hardy anyways, so they'll be able to handle the cold weather. All right, there is now a front to this pig hut. As you can see, it's the same as the back was. It's just covering just half, so it kind of gives them a little bit more just away from wind or any kind of temperature or any kind of weather, anything like that. So this should be really well for them. Now we just need to get some straw. Now we need to start trying to touch up the other one that has that mismatched size, which is very unfortunate that it just wasn't 8 foot long, just like those metal boards were. Hi, piggies. Yep. Cattle panel is tough. We got these bolt cutters. Hopefully, I'm expecting that I'm just going to be able to cut the cattle panel right where the metal is. Then we can put the wood up against the back like normal. The wood here won't match, but we'll just cover that up by putting some more wood on top of it, making sure there's no leak of air or anything like that. So first, let's get to some cutting. All right, you can see now there is no cattle panel here in the way of doing the backing. I'm happy I don't gotta do this anymore. This thing does take a little bit of effort. Let's see what we can do with the back of this now. Out of battery, gotta go get a new battery. Be right back. You can see now I put the whole back on, and it actually looks better than what I thought it would turn out to be, especially with having to cut that cattle panel and everything. You can see I kind of just put an extra board down to kind of cover that gap under there instead of trying to measure and redo that whole box and frame of that hut. We don't have enough wood for a door right now, so I'd have to look around for some more scrap wood, and we want them to match, so I'm gonna be looking for more fence boards. So this probably won't get done just this second. The only thing that we're gonna do now is add some straw to these, and then these pigs will officially have spots that are gonna be done. And it is such a relief to have these pig huts complete. It is so cool to see them out here compared to what they just had before this. And I'm sure they're gonna love it too. Although right now it is 59 degrees. Whew, it is cold. But the next few days that we have coming up here in about 3-4 days are gonna get into the 80s again. So these guys are gonna wanna find some shade other than just laying right here under a tree like they have in the past. Look at, they just wanna cuddle already. All right, we'll go get some straw in these in the morning and we'll see how they're doing. And then I wanna explain to you guys our previous pig hut situations and everything that we've tried here up to this date. And I think we finally have stable pig huts that are gonna last a while that we won't have to redo for some time. All right, we have the straw, so we can basically finish off these pig huts to where they are basically complete. There's nothing really much to add other than a few smaller touch-ups that is more stuff that's for like our eyes that we see. The pig huts have become a new place that when we look here on our homestead that we can just feel good about. One and most importantly for the care of our animals, but two for us. The pig huts have become a whole journey for us and where we started when we first ever had pigs. When we first brought pigs onto our place, we needed something just to house them in. We didn't have anything put together right that second. We got our big metal stock tank that we love to do for our chicken brooders, laid it down on its side just so that our pigs had somewhere to sleep in, and we felt like that was gonna be sufficient for the time being. Then realizing that pigs get bigger and they get older and they get bigger quick, we were gonna have to build something a little bit more sufficient, a little bit more efficient for them. So building an A-frame, we made it where it was 8 foot long, so there was gonna be plenty of room for them in there. Metal sidings, it looks like it was gonna work out just perfect for them. The problem was for that, it ended up getting a little too skinny for our pigs that we had. The pigs, like I stated earlier, they do get bigger. Started breaking, busted it up a little bit to where we needed to build things that were wider for these pigs. The length didn't matter as much as having more width to them. That's kind of when we put together one of these things that you see now that we just renovated, where it was kind of more of 8 foot long, but also about 4 feet wide, and kind of more of a hoop coop, but just very small hoops for these pigs so that they just had something to go underneath. The problem that we ended up having with those structures is the reason why we ended up redoing stuff and why we have now is that we were using tarps kind of as the main cover. It had a back, but the pigs broke it eventually because it was out of tarp. Realizing that although tarp is easy to work with, it's convenient to work with at the time, it is not ever made to last. And that's what led us today to have these pig shelters. I do want people to understand that when you're doing this, there is some stuff that you want to get done right away. There's some stuff that is emergent that you need to do as fast as possible. But if you have the time, take the time to make something that is going to last. It might cost a little extra, it might take a little extra time, but in the long term, you're gonna be happy that that's what you have instead of having something that's gonna tear apart in a few months and then you're building again and building again. I mean, look at this guy. He's getting all cozy in there right now. I think the straw was that finishing touch that these pigs needed to kind of go inside these and really use them. They have been going in them, but it's just dirt inside, so they say, what's the difference? But now they kind of have that padding in there, and you can see he's in there, he's enjoying it. And now we officially have some pig shelters, and it sounds like we have some hungry pigs. I think sometimes we get too caught up in how we take care of animals and us judging others about hey, that's not the right way to do it, you can't do that. There's, I think, so many different styles and ways to take care of animals that we should be sharing all the different ways that we do it and explaining, hey, this works really well for me, this works well for them, bouncing ideas off, ultimately trying to find what might be the best. But overall, there's many different ones. And our pigs now have a very good shelter because of that. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And God bless everybody, and make sure you always just do your best.